When my father was 12 or 13 years old, living in Pittsburgh, his father, a determined Republican, declared during the 1948 presidential election that if Harry Truman is declared president, we're moving to Alaska. The morning after, with newspapers announcing Truman's win on the breakfast table, my father asked his father when they were moving. He waited patiently for an answer. Now, the subject of elections and Alaska was expertly avoided, and my father's question was never answered. He finished breakfast and walked to school. And after years of breathlessly listening to Sergeant Preston's adventures in the challenge of the Yukon on the radio, he had a clear picture of what life must be like up there. Instead of slick fallen leaves and industrial mist of Pittsburgh, there would be open air, mountains, and a life lived on his own terms. That's where the whole story started for me. It starts with this idea that if life isn't working the way you want it to, let's just move. And no one does that, really. I mean, very few people do that. We all say if something isn't going right, or if we're worried about the direction the country is going, or liking or not liking the president, or whatever it might be, a lot of us at some point or another have said, well, I'm going to have to move. I'm going to have to leave. And every once in a while, someone does. And to a certain extent, even though it was decades after Truman was elected president, my father decided to move to Alaska, and my whole family went with him. So the book came from that story, came from that beginning where a life lived before was put aside or said goodbye to, and a new life was started. But part of what I find so striking about writing this story and learning about what happened, in a way, just learning through my own memory, is how many times in my life and how many times in all my friends' lives there's been this sort of thing that actually happens, that we say goodbye to the way things are and we discover something new. And it's usually very scary, it's very difficult, it's uncertain, but it seems to be an important part of just how we live our lives. And the sooner we accept that, the sooner we discover the adventure, whether it's thousands of miles away in Alaska, or it's something that happens next door, or on your way to work, or as you go home at night. Those adventures where we say goodbye in order to say hello, I find really interesting.